Towards the end of June now. It's taken me a really long time to get through this excavation and then forming up the footers and everything. So I really haven't made many videos because it's just been like very repetitive. It would have just been the same stuff over and over. But I've reached, I guess, like kind of a milestone at this point where I've got the footers all dug. I've got the form stakes in place, and I'm now going to start putting the forms in. And so let me give you kind of a tour, a walk around of what we got going on. So you can see here as we're walking down through the footer, right? You see all these stakes that are all around the border of the footer. So you can see exactly where, the concrete is going to be placed in here. And so we had, kind of the main perimeter that goes all down and around. Then we have some areas where we're going to have piers running here, over here, down in this area over here. So just getting all this prep work, if you've ever painted or anything, it's kind of a similar situation where it's a ton of prep, and then actually placing the concrete is like a one day thing, but it takes if you're just one guy working on it, literally months. And that's really been like the main thing so far, looking at what it takes to do a project like this. If you're just one guy working on it, it's just so much time. It's just really a tremendous amount of time. But in any case, so the next step, like I was saying, is putting in these concrete forms. And so I'm using this product. It's called Form-A-Drain. But basically you can see it's a extruded hollow rectangular tube basically. And it's got these slots here, right? And so typically with concrete forms, you would put this down and then I'm going to have another one that's going to go along this side. So it'll basically form a little channel, and that's where we can put the concrete into. And because, in a typical concrete form, this would be made of wood or something, and then you would just take that away after you put the concrete. But in this case, it's going to stay, and it will become a French drain. So we're going to have stone on the outside of this. Right, so stone will be all on the outside, and we'll put like a filter fabric on the outside, and so it serves both as the concrete form and the French drain ultimately. It also could be a radon mitigation system. We don't really have radon over here, but in places that do, it serves that purpose as well. So it's a pretty good product. In any case, we've got to now put this Form-A-Drain on both sides of our channel, all the way down and around, all the whole perimeter everywhere. And then once we have all that formed up, then we'll need to put rebar in there. And the engineer has specified what type and what size and spacing and kind of the geometry of the rebar work that we need to put in there. So we'll do all that. So we're still, weeks, maybe a couple months even, depending on what else I got going on, like work-wise, to be able to get to the concrete phase. But I really am kind of anxious to get there. But in any case, I'll probably make another video when we get through with this Form-A-Drain piece. Talk with any lessons learned or anything like that, in case anybody's planning on using that product. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and show what it's like working with this Form-A-Drain product. And so it's I like it. It's pretty easy to use. So basically, it's these lineals, and I was showing those up on the land the other day. So I managed to get all of the full length. They come in 12 foot length, so all of the ones that go installed in full length, I went ahead and put all those up, and now I'm doing all the ones that require cuts. And so I've got this this miter saw. This is a pretty nice saw. Got this one on sale from Lowe's. But in any case, I just got them set up, and I'll go up there and take these very sophisticated schematics like this. So I'll just measure and see what I need to cut, then come up here, chop them up. So it goes pretty quick. It's pretty easy, even for someone who really hasn't, I've used saws before, but I'm certainly not a professional. So it goes pretty quick and easy. But in any case, I'll keep on going, and I'll show some more progress here in a little bit. So we got to kind of a milestone, kind of a small milestone, where I've got most of this form-a-drain all laid out and connected and everything now. There's one area, the last area over here, where I have to go from what's here down this step down, just kind of the same thing that I have right there. But I got to get the machine from outside here to inside here to run a bunch of stone into this area, which is why once I cut this part out and put the form-a-drain, I really won't have an access point anymore. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and run this stone in here now, and once I have that, then I'll go ahead and be able to take this out and then finish doing this form-a-drain part. But I'm it's getting close here, so we'll go ahead and put it in, put this camera down and just run this stone, and then hopefully be able to finish this thing out today, but if not, tomorrow. July 19th, and finally finished with kind of the preliminary prep of the footers. The last thing I have to do is the rebar. So I wanted to kind of show what we got going on here and give some what's it called, some kind of lessons learned. So here's what we did. So we excavated it all down, to a certain height, right? And then I put 4 inches of crushed stone over everything. I haven't done the garage yet because I don't have to do this part yet, because this will always be accessible to my machine. So I'll be able to get in there later. So I don't need to do that yet. But everywhere else is now basically closed off, and especially once I put the rebar up, it's going to be inaccessible. So in any case, we got that. We got this crushed stone laid in here. You see a bunch of piles in here that's left because some of these areas I haven't yet put up the forms on. I'll have to do some plywood forms for the concrete to get into, and after I set that, and really after we put the concrete into those, then I'll be able to get this stone pushed all over that area as well. But again, the machine won't be able to get in here, so I had to put all the stone just for convenience to get it in here, so I don't have to carry it very far. It's just a matter of just kind of moving it over a bit. All right, once we did that, then the other thing we have here, the big piece, is putting all this these plastics up here, right? So you see, I've shown this a few times, but basically there's little slots cut along the outside of this. This is called a form-a-drain, and then you put crushed stone up against it. Ultimately we'll put some filter fabric on top of that as well, but this will just stay in place after we pour the concrete, and it'll become the French drain. So to the extent that any water, groundwater kind of rises up from below, rather than becoming a problem to the house, it'll get just pulled into these form-a-drains and brought down, and then ultimately brought out and down off into the woods over there. All right, now when I was putting up this form-a-drain, you'll see there are these metal stakes that I put them every 2 feet. That's pretty tight. I think that more normal is like 3 to 4 feet maybe, but I wanted to be extra safe and put them tighter. One thing that I would probably do differently is, see, I got 18-inch ones and I got 24-inch ones, just depending on how deep it was to be set. But I would probably get longer, because there's some areas like this one over here, for instance, right? It gets really low to the ground. It would be better if that was sticking up a little bit further. It'd be easier to pull out. But it's kind of lessons learned, I guess, right? So next time around, keep that in mind. But overall, using this Formadrain, this was pretty easy to work with. So I would definitely recommend this. Hopefully, it's going to be good to pour into as well. But we got this kind of going around the whole perimeter here, and you see on the outside I've put the same stone like I have on the inside. I put it on the outside here. I've wrapped it up in these plastics, and the reason for that is just we're getting erosion, right? Like, this is taking me a while. Like, we've been working on the foundation here since March, and it's July 19th now. So that's what happens when you just got one guy working on it, right? So, but in any case, if it rains, water comes down, it flows over here, and you can see areas where the water is just kind of carving out the dirt, and then it washes down. And so I put these plastics on here to try to keep the mud and the silt and everything from getting onto the stone and like muddying up the stone, because ultimately that's going to end up going into the Formadrain. So that's really what I'm trying to do, just keep it out of getting in here. Now, once we are done, we put the concrete in, I'll be able to put that filter fabric, like I was saying, down, and then put more stone on top of that, and then the walls will be poured. We'll be able to backfill behind that, and everything will then be closed up, and that won't be a concern anymore. But it's in this interim time that I'm just trying to be cautious. So the next thing I have to do is the rebar. I've got the rebar on site, and I'm just going to start laying that out. I got to set up like a little rebar bending station over there. But there's an awful lot of rebar that's going to go in here. So this is going to take me a while. I'm not sure how long, but hopefully it's not going to be like it the earthwork has been, and we'll be able to get this thing moving.